They're supposed to say the thing. Right?
Boom, boom.
Oh yeah. Go live here. There's a handful of things I have to do here.
Like share it in all the places.
Yeah. If you're joining us, this is kind of our unofficial before show.
It's the pre-show.
Yeah. It's like a pregame.
Except with much less booze.
Yeah.
Is there no booze involved? We're going to let you figure that out for your own self.
I should make us a couple drinks for Battlefront. You could have like a rum and coke, right?
Probably.
And not like be wrecked.
Yeah. I have a functioning liver.
I'll make us a couple of rum and cokes.
Okay.
That'd be fun. I'll probably be shit-faced drunk at the end because I drink so little that I better not put that there. I went and joined a bunch of Star Wars groups, and I don't want to wear out my welcome. Boo-ba-doo, boo-ba-doo, boo-doo. Boo-ba-doo, boo-ba-doo, boo-doo. Boo-ba-doo, boo-ba-doo, boo-doo, boo-doo. Joseph says I want some rum and coke. I'll FedEx it to you.
Yeah. Just put it in a Ziploc bag, drop it in the mail. It'll get there eventually.
We'll wait a couple more minutes, and then if you're here for our pregame, our pre-show, how do you like the thumbnail I made? It's pretty low effort, but I thought it looked really good though.
It's a good choice.
That's the one thing in that first episode, the first episode of Hawkeye. And we won't get into this. And when we do our spoilers, or when we go to Hawkeye, we'll do a non-spoiler review of the first two first, and then I'll put the spoiler graphic up. But
how stereotypical would it be for me to ask you for your perspective on that scene as a gay man? It
was very gay. It was pretty gay.
I mean, it's Broadway, so a certain amount of that is expected.
I also really hate musical theater. Despite doing a lot of gigs, but,
it's an acquired taste? ?
It's a fucking payday, is what it is.
Sure.
For most like all the musicians. There aren't a lot of shows that you play just because they're fun.
Yeah.
Wicked is one of them because Wicked has some really good music.
I think so,
like Beauty and the Beast, like some of those like really big ones. Phantom of the Opera is like I've never played Phantom of the Opera before, but. Yeah. Yeah. Les Mis is a lot of fun.
Also, if you're lucky enough to catch a show that goes big, you can have the same job for years and years. Which is kind of rare in the music business. It's
also rare on Broadway. You usually maybe we're not gonna have enough time to get to our normal segment of other shit we watched, but there was an Andrew Garfield movie that I watched. The guy that played Spider-Man, and he plays Jonathan Larson, the guy that wrote Rent.
Oh, I think I heard about that one.
Yeah, and so that Jonathan Larson died the night it premiered on Broadway.
Oh,
of an aneurysm.
That's dark.
But, yeah, it's a really good movie though. It's a lot of fun.
Guess that kind of adds to the mystique of Rent.
All right, let's get this bastard started. We're in hyperspace.
Oh, cool.
Look at the hyperspace.
Big fan of hyperspace.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I am Daniel.
I am Chris.
We're here, same basement, different fucking camera, by the way.
Yeah.
New camera. You can see all my books over here, my Star Wars collection.
You can see every pore on my nose.
Yeah, well, and it's too far away for that.
Thank.
You're very pale, though.
I don't go outside.
I am surprised at how pale you are.
Like, even before COVID, I didn't go outside.
Yeah, I didn't really either.
You at least get out and walk your dogs.
That's
every
true.
day.
I do that every day. So yeah, welcome to our little show here. We're just two nerds trying to find our way in the universe. We like Star Wars a lot, and we like Marvel a lot. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of Marvel stuff.
Yeah. Because there's not very much Star Wars happening,
but
there's
that
some
will change. That will change.
That will change next month. But there is exciting Marvel stuff happening.
Yeah. So before we get into that, as always, thanks to Connor at the Star Wars Hub and Star Wars Veritas. You guys are amazing. Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith says, I don't see anything of me in that collection. There's a Vader helmet right fucking there.
There's a Vader action figure right there.
This ship right here, which I built, this middle one is Vader's TIE Advanced. This water bottle right here, this water bottle right here has a Vader on it. Mm-hmm. That came from Disney. There's a lot of fucking Vader stuff up here. What are you talking about? I have
There's several books that have Vader
there's,
on the cover.
Lords of the Sith.
Yep.
What a great Vader book, by the way. Anyway, by the way, we'll be reading the comments as we go along in between our segments here, so please feel free to put something in the chat. We'll read it when we're not in the middle of something.
And we'll do our best to not make fun of you.
Yeah. And then right after this, starting at 7, we're going to have our regular Battlefront stream. Mm-hmm. That'll be a lot of fun. I played Battlefront with a 12-year-old last night. It was really surreal.
You were telling me about that.
You know what was really funny about it? 12 years old, curses as much as I do.
I see Xbox Live has not changed at all.
Yeah, if not a little more. It was really funny last night in the chat. Someone's like, it's like Gremlin Squad's babysitting. Because like the other person we were playing, because Griff and Matt couldn't make it last night, so we had like a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. So like Robbie and I were like babysitting.
Okay, but were they good?
They were actually pretty good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and they didn't annoy, because you know how kids annoy me.
Yes.
They didn't annoy me that much. So good to them. So we're gonna start off with some Star Wars news. Let's get to this. Are you starting first?
Yes.
Okay.
So, as you may be aware, the Obi-Wan show is in production. Apparently, they're at the point where they've got Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen on set, putting on their robes and getting acquainted.
Trying on their underwears.
Yeah. Getting reacquainted with their roles.
Oh, so the 12-year-old just messaged me. It was like, I listened to the stream. I sound so bad. Anyway, sorry. That was not like let's interrupt the press for this, but yeah.
So Kathleen Kennedy gave an interview with Empire. Kathleen Kennedy, who I'm sure it will surprise some
I
of
thought
you
she was
to learn,
fired.
is still the boss of Lucasfilm.
For how long?
A couple of years.
3 years.
Yeah. Because her contract got extended.
Yeah. Did that make it on our news rundown?
No, we covered that last week.
Yeah. I don't know if we knew how long exactly, but it was extended for like 3 years, which is longer than I thought it would be, because usually for big exec jobs like that, you get like a 1-year contract that's recurring.
I think they're happy enough with how she does her job that they're saying, we'll give you a few extra years.
And like I said last time, I don't care about Kathleen Kennedy. I just want to see Doomcock lose.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm saying.
So among the things Kathleen Kennedy told Empire was, quote, the thing that was most exciting was being on the set and watching the two of them get excited. Mm-hmm. They hadn't seen each other in a long time. I was surprised at just how incredibly emotional it was for each of them to find themselves back in these roles and just realizing how important Star Wars was to each of them. It was the beginning of their careers, unquote.
You think they had a healthy laugh at how crazy Star Wars fans are?
I hope so.
They're like, if we fuck this up, they're going to hate everybody. Like, this is...
But I mean, Ewan McGregor went on to have a very successful career in all sorts of roles.
Yeah, he's insanely successful, actually.
Hayden Christensen was in Jumper.
Which was bad.
And I mean, I'm not.
He was in a couple other things too. I just can't remember what they were.
Well, like I'm not trying to shit talk Hayden Christensen here, but like, I'm glad that he seems to have a daughter that he loves very much. He has a great family, and I'm very glad that he's doing well in life.
Yeah. All right. So from Deseret News, I don't even know what the fuck that is, but headline reads: Star Wars producer Dave Filoni, you remember that guy, reveals how he came up with the idea for the new Ahsoka series. And
he's the dude with the cowboy hat, right?
Yeah. Which he made an appearance for an interview recently that I watched where he wasn't using. It was for that Boba Fett special.
Oh yeah.
Where he wasn't wearing his cowboy hat, and I almost did not recognize him. It was I don't think I've ever seen him with his hat off. Yeah. It was kind of insane. Anyway, he told Empire Magazine that he has had an idea for Ahsoka's story for a long time, and now he's finally allowed to bring it to light. It's thrilling, I got to tell you, he said. It's something you imagined doing for a long time, and then it's kind of startling when you're sitting there, and now you have to do it. I thought of this adventure for Ahsoka for a long time, and it's interesting to see how it's evolved. Years ago, I never would have imagined that it was sprung. That it was sprung from a branch of a tree that has anything to do with a guy like Din Djarin or a child that looks like Yoda. It's a great lesson for me on how, when you have other creatives like Jon Favreau, they can help lend such dimension and depth to what you're doing.
What an incredible privilege it must be as a writer and a creative person to have made this character over like a decade or two ago, and to just shepherd her through all these various shows and
states of popularity too, because Ahsoka was people did not love Ahsoka at first, because she was annoying, and she was meant to be annoying and kind of privileged, and
I mean, she's
she's the 12-year-old you meet on fucking Xbox, that's really good at something, and so she goes from being the annoying 12-year-old to
being kind of a badass,
being a super badass. So I bet he is kind of thrilled.
He has a lot to be proud of in just the arc of Ahsoka's character. All through the years. So Walt Disney owns Star Wars, the Walt Disney Corporation.
No.
Which means...
Do you have a source for that?
Yes.
Did you get that from Doomcock?
It's on Wikipedia. So anyway.
Do you remember when Wikipedia wasn't a reliable source for anything?
That was within our academic careers.
Yeah, it is, by the way, a fine source, because it turns out that in the grand scale of people, the guys that are right end up being the dominant force on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It kind of polices itself. It's kind of amazing.
Like the type of person that actually goes through and updates Wikipedia articles on all sorts of minutia of like specific
grammar
types of spiders or whatnot.
Right, yeah.
Like those are the people who actually study those things academically and like have written actual essays and papers on them and know what they're talking about.
Right.
Anyway. So there are Star Wars attractions at Disney World and Disneyland. Among these is Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which is this...
is that the VR one?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently, Walt Disney Corporation is being sued because this company... I'm trying to see if I can find their name here. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. I did not prepare for this as well as I should have.
That's okay. Is it like Star Trek? Like some like Star Trek company?
It's some other like amusement park company.
Okay.
That like was
Six Flags? Probably not.
No, it wasn't one
Universal?
of the like major parks. It was the people who like make the technology for theme parks.
Well, what's their problem?
Well, they say that they had patented some of the technology that was used in Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, this is Raven Sun Creative.
Okay.
Raven Sun Creative is the name of the company, and they're saying that essentially Rise of the Resistance uses technology that is their patent.
They'll settle out of court.
Almost certainly.
Yeah, and they'll get a lot of money for it, I bet.
Because Disney has what we politely refer to as fuck off money.
Oh, they have so much fuck off money.
Yes. Like they can just write you a check for a couple $1 million or many millions of dollars, and
hundreds of millions of dollars.
It does not impact the bottom line.
No one would even get fired over that.
Yeah. So this company is about to get a major payday, and life will go on as normal. I doubt anyone at Disney World will even notice. Like the guests won't even notice that this is happening.
Yeah. The only thing right now is some bad press about it, but and then out of that lawsuit will be some kind of NDA that they sign.
Like the super nerds like us who wake up and just Google Star Wars every morning are going to know about this, but I don't think anyone else will.
Speaking of Disney stuff, so you know that Disney is doing the 3-day experience on the Star Wars ship called the Halcyon, where you go. It's a hotel and you get locked in for 3 days and you pretend to be a Jedi. Your kids pretend to be a Jedi.
You would have to pay me $6,000 to stay at this thing.
It does cost $6,000, and there's a lot of stuff for the kids to do. Apparently, there's a bar for the parents. And
which is good because like going through this just sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So they did a little bit of they had this little teaser video of this guy in a suit. He was like an exec, obviously, doing the lightsaber training, in like he's getting shot at by lasers, and they're actual like lasers, and you have to and it kind of shows you where to go and shit. And the guy clearly had never held a lightsaber before. He looks like such a fucking doofus doing it. Yeah. But so you can go do lightsaber training, and you know what? If I were to go to this, even though I'm an adult,
that is what you'd be doing.
I would be right next to these fucking 4-foot tall 12-year-olds from Xbox, just owning lightsaber combat. By the way, because fuck those kids, I know how to use a lightsaber. I'd get kicked out.
Probably.
I would have an assault charge probably.
You would be escorted to the brig, which I'm pretty sure is actually the bar.
Yeah, which would be great.
Lightsabers and booze, two of your greatest interests.
I don't drink that much anymore. Crazily.
Well, okay. Let me
If you caught our pre-show, by the way, which started as us accidentally not muting our mics a few weeks ago, and now we're just gonna go with it. I think we're gonna do some rum and cokes with Battlefront tonight.
Just to amend my earlier claim, college use greatest interests, booze and lightsabers.
What's really funny is that in our Hawkeye notes, I somewhere in there I have a thing about you and I in college about something that happened that was like that was me and Chris in college.
Yeah. Anyway,
I drank so much in college. Oh my god.
So Adam Driver, I think it's a pretty uncontroversial take that Adam Driver was the best actor in the sequel trilogy.
I mean, minus the classic like Carrie and Harrison and Mark. Yeah.
Of the new generation of actors, Adam Driver did the best job.
Yeah.
Shortly after Rise of Skywalker was released, he said that essentially that he was done with the franchise, which makes sense because, spoilers, Kylo Ren dies, as does Ben Solo.
Yeah. But apparently they're going to...
However, just recently, Adam Driver talked to Unilad, which is apparently an outlet, saying that he's, quote, "No, I'm not totally against returning to the Star Wars franchise. For me, it's a filmmaker's medium, so my only thing is working with great filmmakers," unquote.
Yeah, so it's weird when these stories come out because I'm sure he's never going to, like, no one's ever going to stop asking him Star Wars questions.
It's Harrison Ford syndrome.
Right. And people will craft questions for a headline. And the attempted headline here is Adam Driver to return to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right. And all he's saying is, if they want to pay me to do a job, I'll do a job.
Yeah.
Not that role shook me to my core and changed my life, and I'll never be separate from it. It is my life. That's not what he fucking said.
Like, if you want to cut me a check to play a Force Ghost,
right? They're like, if they want to come over here and suck my dick, I'll do it. That's fine. But who wouldn't just sit there and have their dick sucked? Like,
true. Yeah.
He's probably not going to come back.
Probably not. Like, they would need a very specific story to get Adam Driver specifically. But like maybe a young Ben Solo might have a future in some TV show.
Who I will die on this hill. Finn Wolfhard, the kid from Stranger Things. If they don't use him in some capacity as Ben Solo at some point, it's going to be a big mistake.
They'd probably have to get on that pretty soon.
And if they were to bring back Ben Solo as an adult, that would already mess up a narrative that's already kind of messed up from Rise of Skywalker. So,
I mean, for better or worse, Ben Solo is dead.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to use the same actor.
Sorry, Ben. So on Reddit, so the Star Wars Battlefront 2 Reddit is still very active. Yeah. In fact, there's still, so Battlefront 2 turned 4 years old a couple days ago.
Yep.
We play it every night. We never really have a problem finding matches. Like, people are still playing it. There was a dev from DICE. His name was Dennis.
Okay.
Who would every once in a while come by and drop by on the Reddit and comment on something, or when they were still supporting the game, would give little hints about things that they were about to do and stuff. And he
we're gonna make an evil BB-8, guys.
Right. And he dropped by Reddit and really crushed a lot of people's, like, really ruined people's day.
Yeah.
It was like pretty much like we had working prototypes for Mustafar as a map, as well as playable characters, Ahsoka Tano and Asajj Ventress.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, everyone was like, "Why did you tell us this?" Because it's like I would have been better off not knowing. Because now I'm gonna go cry, and that's what everyone's fucking response was. Because now everyone wants to see everything. Now, there were rumors about the Ventress and Ahsoka that had some circumstantial evidence attached to them. One of the hidden files in the game was a voice line from Vader that mentioned an old apprentice.
Ooh.
And so it was kind of, and I think there was one that pointed to Asajj Ventress as well. It never ended up getting released. As everyone knows, Battlefront 2 had an embattled start to their game. It pretty much ruined the marketing for it. They were lucky to break even on it pretty much. And because we were talking about, well, this is probably one of the things coming up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
We'll get
right,
there.
yeah. So it was really kind of sad because everyone we had almost healed from them being like, we're not going to do support for the game anymore, and it's just like he took a knife and plunged it right back into that fucking wound.
Yeah. So
speaking of
Battlefront, there are developers at EA who talked to Tom Henderson, who's someone who works for GameSpot, I think, who said essentially that Battlefront 3, there was a pitch by DICE for a Battlefront 3, which EA rejected because licensing fees have gone up and they would have to sell 20% more units in order to make the same amount of profit as with Battlefront 2.
Which it was like a licensing thing, right?
Yes, because Disney was essentially playing hardball.
Right.
So this kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's on the same end of this. I looked at it and I was like, this doesn't not make sense. So like Star Wars isn't EA's IP.
No.
So
Disney can charge whatever they want for it.
Also, a Battlefront 3, if done correctly, would sell more than any other game that EA is going to put out by themselves. So they're going to make more money from a Star Wars game. So it would make sense to me that they would need to pay out more for licensing fees.
Yeah.
Because Disney wants all the fucking money they can get. So I don't know. I just wasn't very surprised by it.
Yeah, we've been talking about rumors around Battlefront 3 for a while, and I guess this is just proof that there was some substance to those rumors.
Yeah, they pitched it, right?
Yeah. They put together a pitch at the very least, but I guess having this sort of conclusion to the story is always a little bit sad.
Yeah. Speaking of Star Wars video games, Star Wars The Old Republic expansion, Legacy of the Sith, comes out December 14th. And if you're a younger person asking what the fuck is Star Wars The Old Republic, back when it was 2010, some cinematic trailers for a Star Wars game dropped and changed the world. It's it's an MMO RPG where you make it's set thousands of years before the Star Wars trilogy. There are different classes. You can be a Jedi or a soldier or a fucking...
Or a Sith or a bounty hunter.
Yeah. This game is still being supported by EA.
Somehow.
I do not understand.
It has to be making more money than it costs to develop.
They wouldn't do it out of nostalgia.
Yeah.
It has to be making them money, or they would not be making new shit for this. But I guess there's like a new combat thing happening. You've got like a reliable computer, right?
Yeah.
You know, we should do a co-stream a couple of times with
other Chris.
Huh?
Our friend Chris.
Yeah, what about him? No, you should get like a subscription for a month, and we should do a co-stream. Like we'll play it because it's still actually kind of good. Like it's a fun game to play.
I will forever contend that while The Old Republic is not what I would call a good game, I have fun with it.
Have you played it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, because I still have an account that I every once in a while turn it back on to play and then turn it off and everything. So that'd be kind of fun. There are a lot of really interesting characters in that, like Darth Malgus and everything. I don't know. It's kind of there are some problems I have with it too, about how a lot of it doesn't look very much like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And how I don't know. But it's still fun to play every once in a while.
Yeah. So last on our agenda today, Dark Horse Comics. You remember them?
Yes.
They put out a lot of Star Wars comics in the 90s up until
they were like the only ones putting out Star Wars comics, right?
They were indeed. They are no longer the only ones putting out Star Wars comics, but they are going to be putting out Star Wars comics. There's a press release on StarWars.com saying that beginning in the spring of 2022, Dark Horse will be publishing Star Wars comics again, starting with the High Republic era, but eventually covering the entire timeline.
Yeah.
This is really fucking surprising to me, because I figured Disney would want to keep all that to itself.
I remember when the press release came out that they weren't doing them anymore. Because it wasn't that long ago that the Dark Horse was like, we're not doing Star Wars comics anymore. It was like 2015.
Yeah, it would have been after the Marvel acquisition.
Yeah, because people were really upset about it because there were some really cool comics that came out of all of the now not canon Vader comics are really cool. So it's cool. There, I mean,
so I'm
all their
assuming
shit's good.
that everything they're making is going to be canon again, which is cool because having more stories in that universe is always good. But B also can make it a little bit unwieldy. So I assume they're going to be under like strict supervision from the Lucas Story Group. And
sure,
whatnot, but
I'm sure that they were in the first place anyway.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, what a fucking job I would love to have on the Star Wars Story Group. That's like my dream job.
Guarding the flame.
Yeah, just so, like a filmmaker comes to you and you just be like, oh, what if we did blah, 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 what if Luke did this? No.
What if Han Solo had a gay lover?
No.
Dang.
I would just say no. Like, because they're the guy. They're like they're the No True Scotsman Guardians, where they're like, I say what Star Wars is, and if you don't agree with me, then fuck you.
That'd be the ultimate way to say fuck you to Mike Zero.
Oh well, yeah. Or fucking Star Wars Theory with his Vader film. You could like pitch it, and I'd be like, no.
No.
All right, we're gonna get to the main part of our show today. Now, as always, we love our Star Wars stuff, but we also really like Marvel stuff too. And especially when something important happens, we like to talk about it because we're nerds, just like you. If you're watching this, if you're one of the tens of people watching this, we're all nerds. What if Dark Horse Comics runs a Star Wars What If comic like Infinities?
I'd be up for that.
Didn't Dark Horses do?
I believe they did, yeah. Because they were the ones who were making Star Wars comics at that
Where am I? See, do you see that black container right there?
Yeah.
Hand that over here. This is a box of Star Wars comics. In fact, I think I have Infinities in here. Tales of the Jedi, Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, dang.
I forgot I had that. Boba Fett.
Boba.
Tales. Oh, hold on. I can.
No, keep looking.
No, I'm gonna do it.
Boba. Created a monster.
It had to have been Dark Horse because they're the only ones making.
Yeah.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which is a great comic, by the way. Infinities. That was Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. This is my box of Star Wars comics.
The ones that you don't have framed up on the wall.
Well, yeah, there's some of them that I really like. That like the one of the Last Jedi covers is really really cool. I think it's
that one.
No, it's that one fell down. I think I might have it over there.
Okay.
Maybe we'll talk about it during the Battlefront stream. But
Yeah.
it's the crate version of Luke and Kylo Ren dueling.
Ooh.
It's a really cool cover. Anyway, so as I was saying, Hawkeye, the Disney Plus series, is out today.
The first 2 episodes premiered this morning.
And I watched them both today. It was a lot of fun. We're gonna talk a little bit about. We're gonna do a little
fun look behind the scenes here at Jedi Enclave. Yesterday, I messaged Daniel and said, "So apparently Hawkeye comes out tomorrow," and Daniel freaked the fuck out because he didn't know that.
I forgot. For some reason, I thought that it was premiering closer to Book of Boba Fett. But I'm really glad that it did because I'm kind of excited, and after seeing it, I'm even more excited.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're gonna do a little bit of non-spoilers for the first 2 episodes, just like a review, and then and we will remind you again when we get there. But we're gonna spoil the shit out of the first 2 episodes. I'll have a graphic that goes up, and that way you can clearly see the spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and then come back. And then feel free to put whatever comments you want in about the show and stuff. Try to keep your comments spoiler free if you can, just in case someone accidentally sees a comment and it's like, oh god, Clinton is Thanos or something. Which he's not.
My first thought about this show is Haley Steinfeld, I think is her name, is cast as Kate Bishop.
Yeah,
it does a phenomenal job.
I like her. Yeah.
You
know what else is really cool?
What?
The opening sequence.
Oh yeah.
On the first episode. I don't think they're going to do that every time now, right?
No, like on the second episode they put that animation budget into the credits. If you notice, the first episode's credits didn't have anything fancy there.
I didn't notice
that. It just cut right to the black screen with text on it.
Oh, okay. So there's credit stuff after that. After the second episode, you mean?
Yes.
I'll have to go back and look then because I didn't realize.
But it's very much in the same animation style. Which,
the same animation style as the Hawkeye comics.
Yes.
Like the newer Hawkeye comics.
The Matt Fraction authored run in particular.
And it's a very interesting art style, and I love it. Everything's lowercase because you can't have anything trendy and chic if it has an uppercase letter in it anywhere. So everything's lowercase.
Side note: Matt Fraction was actually a consultant on the Hawkeye show.
I wouldn't be surprised because there are some deep cuts to a couple of Hawkeye things, like the comics in the first 2 episodes. So I'm not surprised about that. Music is pretty good.
Yeah,
they use a lot of Christmas tunes because it's clearly it's going to be a Christmas story. So they use at one point in fact I think I even have it in my notes. There's a really good usage of Carol of the Bells.
Yes,
and because listen. You can turn Carol of the Bells into a fucking headbanger if you really want to, and
it is my favorite Christmas carol.
Yeah, it's really neat. So that was pretty cool. I don't think that there are any. I forgot that. What's her name? Who plays Kate? Who plays? Was it Eleanor Bishop?
Yeah.
She played. Did you ever see the show? Fuck. What is that? Bates Motel.
You've told me about it, but I haven't watched it.
She plays the mother of a young Norman Bates.
Oh.
And she is so fucking good. And what is... I'm trying to get her actor because her name is kind of weird and I never really remember it. She's also in like the that series of horror movies. God, I wish I would have looked into this before. With like the doll.
Oh,
in the Nun.
Annabelle.
Yeah, like she plays that paranormal team with her husband. I can't remember what their names are, but Vera Farmiga is her name. That's why I never remember it because it's kind of a weird name. She is really good, and I'm not going to tell you anything I already know, but the second I saw her, I was like, you're going to be a bad guy because you have one of those faces. And we'll talk about another guy that, so she plays, she has someone she's about to marry, Kate Bishop's stepfather, who was this insanely dangerous character in Better Call Saul.
Oh, okay.
Who is amazing. Yeah. And the second I saw him, I was like, oh, he's a bad guy.
So you're saying these actors are typecast?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Though the Eleanor Bishop, not all of her stuff is like she plays the protagonist in a lot of stories. Yeah. So the story so far I think is pretty cool. And I think we're gonna run into some pretty big like references and some pretty big reveals, which I think will be pretty cool.
So this happens after everything that's come before. So after Endgame, but also after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah. After the post-credits scene of Black Widow. Like this is the newest,
like the most current. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
which has some implications.
Yeah. Well, right. How about we just go spoilers because I don't want to. I'm kind of like breaking eggshells right now. Again, let me put our. There we go. Our spoilers up. I don't want to ruin this for you because me retelling the story or you retelling the story isn't going to be the same as watching it.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
So go watch it. Unless you don't care, and then let us spoil it for you, and that's fine too.
But if you're going to watch it and you have not yet, go away and watch it for real.
Yeah, we're about to spoil it. So so you're gonna do episode 1, I'll do episode 2. And as you go through your thing, I've got notes that things I noticed. I just have my laptop there. Go ahead.
So episode 1, cold opens in 2012. With young Kate Bishop in her bougie ass apartment.
Big fucking giraffe.
Yes.
Is in my notes. She has this giant fucking giraffe in her bedroom. Why? Because it's a giant fucking
she's
giraffe.
A rich kid.
Yeah. Clearly a rich kid from the very first shot of her room. Yeah.
So she's listening to her parents arguing about money and how they have to sell the penthouse, and she
penthouse, by the way, this is a really nice house.
Yeah.
I have in my notes too.
She slips off the thing that she was standing on to listen through the vents, and the parents are like, "Well, shit, I guess Kate heard that. Dad, you better go talk to her." So he goes up there and is reassuring her, but no, we're not going to have to move. It's going to be fine. We're going to make it all work. And she's like, well, okay, yeah, I feel a little better now. So she has lunch with her mom, and there's a funny scene where the mom bashes on a fork and pops a piece of food in there. And she's ow.
Yeah.
And then she runs upstairs to grab her checker set to play with her mom. And just then, the Battle of New York happens.
Yeah, I was about to say 2012. What happened in 2012? And
Chitauri ship.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a really neat shot of the Chitauri, the monster, whatever the fuck those things are, that she kind of saw through the sky roof or whatever.
So there's this really impressive single shot sequence of little Kate running out of her room and then around the apartment.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I forgot to start our slideshow.
Oh yeah, critical error.
That's all right.
But she's running around the apartment looking for her parents, and then it's one continuous shot for 40 seconds. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So at one point she's standing in a hole that got blasted in the wall, and she's looking out, and this Chitauri ship flies up, and there's a bunch of guys about to kill her.
Well, before that happens, she looks over on a fucking rooftop.
No, because the arrow comes in and takes out the ship.
Yeah.
And then she looks over.
Oh, is that okay? Yeah.
And it's fucking Hawkeye up there.
Just doing the thing he does.
Doing his job.
It just I saw that shot and it reminds me of his line from Age of Ultron, where Wanda Maximoff is freaking out, and he sits next to her and he's like, "Listen to me.
I'm gonna go out there and shoot arrows
at robots.
Yeah.
None of this makes sense,
but we're doing it anyway.
Yeah, so let's go." And it's like you would. Clint. Hawkeye was kind of the laughingstock of Avengers for a bit, and then they kind of delved into his character more, and he's now to me really awesome.
He has the most solid head on his shoulders.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Avengers.
Chitauri Leviathans is what they're called.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat.
So, Kate sees Hawkeye shoot down the ship that was about to kill her, shoot another Chitauri, kick another off the roof, and then do this cool slow motion action shot of jumping off the roof and using this rope arrow to swing into a window, and it's all very cool. Then Kate's mom grabs her and they rush out, and she's like, "Where's Daddy?" And the mom doesn't answer her, so
your daddy's dead.
Next scene is the funeral. Kate's like, but what happened?
I hope you weren't too attached to him.
He had 4 lines. I hope you didn't like him that much. So Kate's like, but what happens if the Chitauri come back? And Mom's like, well, they won't come back.
Well, they ate your father, so I doubt they'll be back anytime soon.
We have the Avengers for that.
Yeah.
And Kate's like, okay, clearly I need to, protect the entire world from the Chitauri. And her mom's like, okay, first of all, you're a kid and I'm the adult. So if anything, I'm going to be protecting you. Second of all, we're rich. So if there's anything I can give you to make you feel better, just let me know.
Yeah, let me buy your love. Let me buy your love and comfort. And Kate, what do I need to buy?
Kate thinks for 2 seconds and then says, I need a bow and arrow.
Yeah, I want to be fucking Hawkeye.
And then cue this opening montage we were talking about, this opening credit sequence, where we find out that Kate has studied not only archery, but also karate and fencing enough.
One of those shots is clearly judo, by the way.
Yeah, well, martial arts, let's say. Well enough to be winning tournaments and getting medals and trophies in all of these.
Yeah, by the way, we mentioned this before, during a stunning title sequence.
Yes.
It's so fucking cool.
It's very, very cool. So now it's present day. Kate's away at college somewhere, and she's trying to lockpick her way into this building, and just fuck it, she just climbs up.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that they were, because the trope in most movies is everyone knows how to pick locks. Yeah. So I thought it was really funny where she's like, I don't know how to do this. Fuck it, I'm just gonna climb the damn thing.
She just parkours her way up to the roof.
Some really cool climbing stuff, by the way. I don't climb things because I
gymnastics. She also studied gymnastics.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, but yes.
Yeah, she does some really cool fucking climbing moves, which I thought was pretty neat.
So she gets up there, she calls her friend, puts on speakerphone, and apparently she's been challenged to a bet where she has to ring the bell of this clock tower
on campus. Yeah.
Yes, using a bow and arrow. So she's like, okay. So do you think what makes this bell move? It does the bell itself swing, or is it the little dingly?
The dangly bits.
And
the pendulous penis of the bell.
I'm gonna bet that it's the dangly bits. So she pulls out her arrow, shoots the arrow, it like impacts on the bell. It makes this really dull sound.
It's really disappointing.
And she's like, okay, wait a minute, I can do that better. She like jimmies together this really fancy trick arrow that has like a grappling hook or something on it. Fires again. It catches the rope of the dangly bit and like rings the bell a couple times. She's like, yeah, I'm the best.
Yep.
And then like the bell like swings too far to
too
one
much
side.
momentum. Too much momentum.
It like breaks apart and breaks the tower and everything.
The entire building fucking collapses. I was surprised to learn no one died.
Yeah.
Like that would have killed people.
It was late at night. No one was there, I guess. So like she gets caught by security and she's like, hey, that's crazy. Did you see that? and we cut away. It's Christmas in New York, and you can tell that it's Christmas because we get these wide panning shots establishing that it's snowing. And
it's
there's
Broadway Street
of Christmas music. We go to Broadway, where Rogers the Musical is playing.
In all caps in my notes, of course there'd be a Broadway show.
Of course.
Because what do Americans do if not make a Broadway show of fucking everything?
For better or worse, it is the quintessential American art form.
Yeah.
So the
also, this is probably the only way to get normal people to understand what the Avengers actually do is put it to song and dance so people understand what they are.
So the scene on stage is the Battle of New York with all the Avengers singing and dancing this actually decent number.
I don't think so at all. In fact, in my notes it said, oh my God, this music is so bad.
It is stereotypical, let's say.
Yeah. I could do this all day.
Yes.
Fucking Cap is...
Anyway, in the audience are Clint Barton and his 3 kids. Clint Barton apparently uses a hearing aid now.
Not a surprise to anyone.
He's heard a lot of explosions.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of sitting there staring at it and kind of having flashbacks to Natasha. Because
she's one of the characters in the,
And like his daughter's like, hey, dad, hey, dad, are you listening? He's like, oh.
Smack, dad.
Turns his hearing aid back on. Yeah, what is it? She's like, did you have your hearing aid off?
This is where I became envious. Where I wish I could go to shows because sometimes I'm dragged to them and I could just turn my hearing aid off. I'm very envious.
He's like, well, I don't need to know what happened. I was there. And Hawkeye decides, I need to go to the bathroom. Hang on. So he has this most awkward encounter imaginable.
Well, before the encounter, did you see what was written on the fucking cell?
Yes, Thanos was right.
So in my notes, I was like, what a fucking, what a great example of American politics.
Yeah.
Where like you have everyone rational thinking about the normal thing, and then you have everyone else who's like, you know what, the bad guy was right.
That was either an edgelord 17-year-old or someone who is mentally still an edgelord 17-year-old.
Or fucking QAnon. Like the Marvel Universe QAnon.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Mentally an edgelord 17-year-old.
Indeed. I stand corrected.
Anyway, so if you've ever been inside a men's room, you know that the most awkward thing imaginable is when there are empty urinals and someone comes and stands right next to you. Because like you just don't do that. So
did I ever tell you about in school once at our college where we went?
Oh no.
The president of our university, I was working a summer job in one of the administration offices.
Yeah.
And I was going to the bathroom, and the president of the university walks in right next to me, taking a piss right next to me. I'm terrified. Because there are so many that he could have picked any one. And so, like, I wrap it up and shit and go, not wanting to be in that room another fucking second. Yeah. And right as my hand's about to hit the door handle, he's like, you going to wash your hands? And I very grudgingly had to, like, go back to the, like, make sure I scrub it for long enough so he doesn't bitch at me, and then never said another word to me. So what I'm saying is I understood this. I understood this sequence.
There's a great bit of acting where Clint is just standing there peeing. The guy comes up next to him, and like you can see his eyes widen slightly. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Just fantastic, little itty bitty microscopic bit of acting by Jeremy Renner that really sells the scene. So this guy's like, "Hey, can I get a selfie?" And Clint's like, this is really not the situation in which you ask for a selfie.
My dick? What do you mean? What do you want a selfie with?
Yeah. So he's like over washing his hands, and the dude's still there. He's like, well, can I get a selfie now?
He's really being really pushy about it, yeah.
Well, apparently his kids are Hawkeye fans or something.
Yeah. He wants to be dad of the year.
Yeah,
He's
so-
probably a shitty dad.
Probably. Most dads are shitty dads.
You but ones that would just walk up to a man with his dick out in a urinal.
Yeah. So anyway, Clint steps outside in the snow and like has a little moment where he squats down. He's trying to mentally recover.
It looks like he's trying to fend off a panic attack a little bit. Yeah.
And his daughter comes out and says, "Hey, are you okay?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Well, why do you ask?" And she's like,
Because you're being fucking weird.
Also because, you just saw an actor playing your dead best friend, and I felt like that might be affecting you a little bit. And he's like, possibly, but also you're my daughter and not my therapist, so I'm not going to talk about it.
So fuck you, you're grounded. Did you recognize the actor? That's Kevin Feige's daughter.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and actually all of his kids had cameos in Endgame.
Yes.
She plays Kate Bishop. His other two kids are the kids during the Hulk scene in the diner in Endgame. And they look a lot alike. Like, you can tell they're all related. So yeah, she's Kevin Feige's daughter.
Huh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, his sons come out and they're all like, "Man, that musical sucks. Let's go get Chinese food."
Yeah.
And they do. Kate, meanwhile, just got back to New York from college, and she's calling her mom like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to my apartment, and then I'll be right there." And she's like, "No, you come here now." And
I heard
like,
what you did, bitch. You get home.
I will be there right now.
Yeah.
So she goes up the elevator, and you can tell it's a bougie ass place.
Oh, it is. They got a door guard and shit. Yeah.
So she gets up there and she's like, "Hey, Mom, what's up? That's a really nice dress." She's like, "Shut the fuck up about my dress. You destroyed that entire fucking bell tower.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Kate?"
They called me the second you did that shit. You're not going to be able to hide this.
Also, your credit cards are frozen now.
Which is funny because she said credit cards, and it's like, how fucking nice would it have been to have parents where I have several credit cards that could be canceled if I do something bad?
How nice would it have been to be in the 1%?
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Yeah. Which, at this point in my notes, parents are absolutely bad guys, is what I have in my notes.
Okay. So Kate's like, "Yeah, okay, but also I got this karate medal. It's pretty cool, right?" And Eleanor's like, "Yeah, okay, I guess that is pretty cool."
Yeah, the judo chop medal.
Yeah. So like Kate's looking around, is like, "Man, Mom, when did you get all these swords? Because that doesn't seem like your style of decor." And the mom like hesitates for a second. She's like, "Actually," but then her boyfriend Jack comes in, like, and he's like, "Hey, Kate, I didn't expect you to be here."
He's such a sleazeball.
Yeah.
He's perfect at these. The character that he plays in Better Call Saul is this charismatic fucking he could kid anybody into believing that like he's their best friend.
Yeah.
And would literally kill them at a drop of a hat without remorse.
Yeah.
And he does it really well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up killing someone without any bit of remorse.
Interesting that you say that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So Kate's mom's like, "Okay, look, we got to go to this charity auction thing. I left you a dress in your bedroom. Just put that on and meet us down at the hotel. Bye."
Did she wear the dress, Chris?
Well, we'll get there. Clint's family is eating at the restaurant, and his wife calls, and they all have a nice conversation. And he's like, "Yeah, these kids are driving me wild. I think I want to kill them." And his wife's like,
please don't.
Well, first of all, don't. But second of all, that was the whole point of this, to give you time with the kids to hang out. And because
so this was interesting. In the trailer, they kind of cut it to seem like there might be some marital tensions between Hawkeye and his wife.
No.
And it's kind of cool that they're fine. Everything's fine. There's a reason that she's not with them and shit. Yeah.
With all the drama that's inherent in interpersonal relationships and superhero media, it's nice that at least Hawkeye gets to have a completely harmonious family.
You find out later that she knows pretty much about everything.
Yeah.
So he really depends on her for his sanity.
So the waiter comes up and like says, "Oh, it's no charge. We got it." And Clint's like, "That's weird. You sure you don't want me to
Do you
pay?"
want a selfie of my dick too?
And he's like, "No, it's okay. Like you saved our city because this is the least we can do." And Clint's like, "Okay, thank you." He's a little weirded out.
Which, by the way, I would have been like, "I saved your whole fucking reality." Just saying.
So at the charity auction, Kate did not wear the dress. Instead, she went for a black suit, black shirt, black tie. It looks really good on her.
Yeah, I mean, anything she wears is going to look good. But
yeah. Apparently, this is also the uniform of the waiters who are working the event. Just keep that in mind.
Are you going to talk about that guy she meets?
Yes, Armand.
Because
Armand the Third.
Out of at least 7.
Yes.
And in my notes, I have too many Armands.
So Armand comes up. He's like, "Hey, I know you. You used to come to my place for blintzes on Saturdays." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I do remember you." He's like, "Well, you got to wear, something that's not a suit because you look better than me. When those two get married, you need to not wear. So he's like, what?
When what two get married?
Your mom and Jack.
Yeah.
She's like, ah.
Which, by the way, how do you think Jack spells his name?
Jacques. Okay.
He's that kind of douchebag.
Okay,
That's all I'm
makes
saying.
sense,
Yeah.
So Kate's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go talk to my mom now. You guys have a nice night. So you're getting married, and Kate's mom's like, would you excuse us for a second? I'm very sorry you had to find out this way. I know Armand is kind of creepy, but
that whole thing about like when he's complimenting her on like looking better than him and shit, it felt a little weird too.
Yeah. I don't think it was meant to be. I think it was just meant to be that.
That guy, by the way, did you recognize that actor?
No.
Have you ever seen the Hollywood production of The Phantom of the Opera with Gerard Butler as the Phantom and shit?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He plays one of the opera owners and has a song, and is such a goofy motherfucker. I'll never forget that face.
A little bit of that comes through in Armand.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's like, "Can you at least be happy for me that I'm getting married and I'm in the depths of this whirlwind romance?" And Kate's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm a little happy, but also I'm going to go outside now because I need to get some fresh air."
Yeah.
So she does. She steps out and she sees this little golden retriever stray dog
missing an eyeball.
Yeah, missing an eye. And she's like, "Hey, you're a pretty cute dog." The dog runs away.
Fuck you. Fuck you, lady.
So
this is New York. Everyone's a douchebag here. Fuck you.
Including the dogs.
Yeah.
So on her way in, she
I'm walking here.
Ah!
That happened in New York, right? New York City?
Yes.
I barely know what that reference is even from.
Don't
Actually, the reason I know the reference is because of the reference that they made in Star Trek 4 of that reference.
Okay. So
that's the one with the humpback whales.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So Kate walks back in and she overhears Armand and her mother arguing.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was watching this with the captions on.
Yes. The second time I watched with subtitles as well.
You watched it twice?
Yeah, because I watched it the first time just to watch it and the second time to get my notes.
I can't do that. I was pausing every scene and doing notes.
I don't want to do that the first time I watch it, which is why I watch it twice. Anyway, they say something about
the Empire was built on a lie. Yeah.
And how Armand has powerful friends too, and they make some vague threats.
Oh, kicking the vagina. Yeah.
And he walks one way and she walks the other. And Kate's like, "Okay, Mom, what the fuck was that?" And Eleanor's like, "No, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm gonna go back to dinner now." And Kate's like, "Okay, you do that. I'll follow you, definitely. I'll be there in like 5 minutes." Waits for her mom to walk away, and then we kind of need to wrap this up.
We need a more subtle way for both of us to tell each other, hurry the fuck up.
Yeah. So Kate follows Armand down through these service hallways and into the kitchen, which is where the cool Carol the Bells sequence happens.
Oh. Yeah, I have in here Carol of the Bells for the win.
Mm-hmm. She grabs a tray of hors d'oeuvres and follows Armand down into the wine cellar where there's this like black market auction happening.
They're selling a live triceratops.
A skull of a triceratops, but yes. She has to blend in with the waiters, and then like the boss waiter comes down and to yell at her, and she disappears and does some.
She got some pretty good ninja moves.
Yeah, she's pretty good. They pull out Ronan's sword, which is at this auction. And Armand buys it after the price gets jacked up by Jack, betting on it as well.
Jacked up by Jack. Which, by the way, I didn't know that sword was retractable.
Neither did I.
Why have a sheath for it?
Why indeed?
Just saying.
Anyway, the
plot hole.
The next thing they put up is Ronan's costume, and they're about to start bidding on that when the entire wall fucking explodes and a bunch of dudes in tracksuits come in.
Yep. Oh my god. Oh my god, did they have tracksuits?
Oh my god.
Calling each other bro.
Talking in Russian all the time,
but calling each other bro so many times.
Yeah. So the guys in tracksuits have guns and they're looking for a watch because they're telling you they're looking for a watch. And Kate's like,
"Oh, I forgot about that."
Yeah, Kate's looking around. She's sees the Ronin outfit and she's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do this." So she puts on the Ronin outfit, and Armand and Jack and a bunch of the other bidders are trying to get out. There's a dude with a machine gun in front of them, and you think something bad's gonna happen, and then out of nowhere comes Kate to karate kick the dude. And this leads into the pretty cool fight sequence where Kate's just running around and beating people up with wine bottles and stuff. She finally gets out of there, and I'm skipping ahead. She gets out of there, runs across the street. On the way out, the dude who's loading the truck for the tracksuit guys like gets kind of attacked by the dog from before. He's like kicking at it, and Kate's like, "Hey, you son of a bitch!" and kicks his ass.
Which is the response I would have to anyone kicking a dog.
Absolutely the correct response to someone kicking a dog. So she and the dog take off. She like has to pick him up out of traffic to make sure he doesn't get run over. Goes back to her apartment. She's like, "Oh my god, that was so cool. Wait a minute, what was up with Armand? He seemed to be really weird with that sword. And oh, you're hungry. Let me just give you this piece of leftover pizza." Which she's been at college. How long has that pizza been in her fridge?
Don't ever feed a dog pizza. Yeah. It's really bad for them.
It's a bad idea. So she like pulls out her phone and like dials up the Bishop Corporation super spy. Incredibly.
Well, because her mom owns a security company. Yeah.
So she's like, okay, Armand is there. I'm gonna go break into his house. Meanwhile, at Clint's hotel room with his kids, they get back, they turn on the news, and Clint like sees someone in the Ronin costume on the news, and he has this big flashback.
And it's so cool because this is the thing I love about Marvel so much, is that everything is a personal connection to the characters. And what a crazy reveal for Clint that would be, having this big part of guilt from his life after he thought his entire fucking family was dead.
Probably the darkest part of his entire life.
The darkest part anyone could have in their life, period. Going on this fucking rage machine, like
of just murdering people.
Yeah. And rampage, really. Yeah. And seeing that, seeing someone who's not him wearing it. Like, I was sitting there like, I would be freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
I would be,
So, Kate goes down to Armand's house, which is, of course, super fancy. She kind of sneaks into an upstairs window and is creeping around. Like, it's an incredibly rich guy's house. He has his own monogrammed butterscotch candies with Armand 3 on them.
Put that in for later.
Keep that in your piggy bank. It also has Armand himself lying dead on the floor with what looks like a sword wound.
He got poked.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she like has to sneak out before the maid finds her, but the maid does find the body and screams. Mm-hmm. So Kate's running down the street, still in the Ronin costume, and the tracksuit guy's like, "Hey, ninja chick,
bro!"
And they like get out and start fighting, and Kate like eventually like gets into this car and locks the doors. What was her plan there?
I don't know.
Well, it works for a second, but then they start breaking the windows. Just before they can do terrible things to her, someone else starts beating up the tracksuit bros, and then like this other person like drags her out through the broken window and like propels her into an alley and like shoves her against the wall and like pulls the mask off, and that's how Clint meets Kate.
Yep. And it's the end of the episode too, right?
Yes.
So let's do episode 2 here real quick before we have to go. So that one thing I just thought was hilarious is that every interaction Clint has with anything in the show is just reading "I'm too old for this shit."
Yeah.
And like they meet right where the first episode leaves off, and she figures out that it's Hawkeye, and she's like totally fangirling.
Oh my god, you're my favorite Avenger.
Yeah. And she got all these fucking questions for him, and he's just fucking over it, right? So they go to Kate Bishop's apartment with the cute dog, and Clint
Lucky, I think his name
right,
is.
Pizza Dog.
Pizza Dog.
Yeah. And Clint wants the Ronin outfit, obviously, and she's still fangirling. Like, she wants him to like sign her bow and shit. And
if you notice, he has an opportunity to say that it belongs to him, but doesn't. He obfuscates who Ronin actually was.
Right. He's kind of making it out to be that he's an agent of the Avengers trying to recover this piece of stolen thing. Right. So she wants him to like sign her fucking bow, and I thought this was really neat that they're setting up this next generation of heroes with kids that idolize the like some of the OG Avengers. Like Miss Marvel, for example, will be coming out eventually. Worships Captain Marvel, for example. And it's kind of cool that they're kind of going along with this. So they're sitting there, and he's like, "Okay, like, did you go anywhere, before I found you?" And she's like, "Not at all, except for when I stopped by my house to feed a dog or something." And then, as if on cue,
in the street, unintelligible Russian Molotov cocktail through the
window. They scream her name. They go, "Kate Bishop," and she's like, "Oh yeah, my name's on the buzzer." And he explains to her like the person that he's explaining to her before, the person that wore that suit made a bunch of enemies, and that's where they show up. Molotov cocktails. Clint catches one and throws it back at him, which I thought was really cool. And then right as the guy was about to throw another one, she like shoots it with an arrow, and then everyone's on fire.
Yeah,
because why not? But it's like if you took Ochi of Bastoon, made 12 of them and put them all in tracksuits. Like that's what these guys are.
That's the tracksuit mafia.
Yeah. So they have to leave the suit and come back for it. I thought it was kind of neat. Clint is clearly not concerned about it being in a house fire.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle of this fire, and he's like, it'll be fine, which it must be a pretty cool suit. They escape to the subway, but they need supplies. She asks Avengers supplies, and it turns out it's just Neosporin.
Yes, and other wound healing stuff.
So they're shopping for their wound care. Clint mentions that Tony sold the Avengers Tower, which I thought was pretty cool. They go to a safe house, which is actually just Kate's aunt's house, who's in Florida. And so they come up with this plan. Clint tells her, stay put, I'll go recover the suit. And so he goes back where there are firemen putting out the fire.
And police and stuff.
And he dresses up as a firefighter. He can't find the suit.
There's this whole sequence is the brilliant example of act like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Like if you ever seen the Catch Me If You Can movie.
Right. Just do it with confidence. No one will ever question you.
He just walks past the police line, grabs a fire jacket and helmet, and just walks right in.
So on his way back to return the stolen fireman goods, he sees a sticker in one of the engine windows that says NYC LARPers. And which I thought was really cool because it was getting real nerdy.
Yeah.
So Clint gets back to the safe house with Kate. She's talking to her mom on the phone, and her mom's like, I don't know, it's some kind of weird black market, like black market auction. What? I don't know what it is. And it's like, I don't fucking buy it. You fucking knew about the black market auction. Don't fucking lie. So they have this really cool, Clint and Kate Bishop have this cool thing where like he gives her a master class on how to use fucking Band-Aids. And he does some research into the NYC LARPers. Some guy posted on his Instagram about getting a suit, which is the Ronin suit. Yeah. And so the next morning, Clint sends his kids to the airport alone. Dad of the year. Promises to be home for Christmas. And it's looking,
which is 5 days away.
Yeah, looks like he's a little afraid he might not be able to get back by Christmas. He goes back to Kate. They're still feeding the dog pizza. All in caps. Are they only just feeding this dog pizza? Don't feed your dog pizza.
I don't think Kate ever had a pet before.
Right, yeah. Armand III's murder is on the news, and they're making connections between Ronin and the murder.
Which he died by a sword. Ronin uses a sword. Easy connection.
They leave the apartment. Clint's hearing loss comes up, and she asks, how did you lose your hearing? And he has
a montage of all the various explosions.
Ending with the Avengers compound explosion when they dropped a nuke on top of them. And he's like, it's really too hard to tell. And they have this funny, like they pass some street performers that are doing the Avengers like pictures and meet and greet thing. And there's a Katniss Everdeen joke.
Yep.
So Katniss Everdeen exists in the Marvel universe as entertainment.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Kate lectures Clint on branding. They have this little thing, and he's like, you're too low key. And he's like, fuck you, I don't care.
I'm not trying to sell anything.
Clint drops her off at work. I guess she's like an intern at her mom's security company. He says this will probably be the last time we see each other, but he gives her his phone number for emergencies.
Emergencies only.
Yeah. Kate has a conversation with her mother and new stepfather, Jack. And her stepfather does this weird psychoanalyzation, and
he read a book on becoming a stepfather.
Yeah, he bought a book on being a stepdad. Her mom says, "Hey, come to dinner," and she's like, "Fine, only if I get to pick the conversation topics," and because she like clearly suspects the stepdad, right? So Clint tries to get into the LARP meeting that's happening in Central Park, I think.
He's like, "Look, I just need to talk to that guy."
Yeah, she gets stopped by a fucking guard who is this 5-foot girl with a fucking foam bat, pretty much. And she's like, the only way you're going to get in here is if you actually fucking LARP. And he's like, you know what? Just to make this go by faster. Yeah. They make him put on an outfit. And it's like, I have in all caps LMAO with lots of O's.
Yeah.
And they're like, now fucking make it look real. And this is where I have, this was Chris and me in college.
Yeah.
Because we should go into that on the Battlefront.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on the Battlefront stream.
Spoilers, I still have 2 wooden swords.
Yeah. So there's this hilarious sequence of Clint fighting with Renaissance music,
Yeah.
and he's killing it. He's killing everybody. It's so, and you know what? He's trying to look like he's not having fun, but he's having a fucking
having
blast.
a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
So he finally gets to the guy with the suit, and he says, "You have 2 choices. I'm going to hit you with a pretend sword, and you can pretend die. And I'm going to take the suit, or I'm going to real punch you, and you're going to real fall down, and I'm going to take the suit." And so they work out this deal where he's like, "Hey, let me kill you in front of all my friends. It'll be really cool."
And I'll give you the suit for free.
Right, and the guy, and Clint's like, "And I fucking fought Thanos, and this
Fine,
is where I am." Yeah.
whatever.
So Kate gets a call from a detective. They want to ask some questions about her house fire. Seems a little suspicious. Clint has to fight this kid with a suit, and in front of an entire
Firefighter, not a kid. Like this is.
Oh yeah, you know, you're right. Yeah. It is a grown man. And he has to fight him in front of an entire crowd, and he can't just like poke him and say you're dead.
Yeah.
Like he's got to earn it, right? And they do this really crazy thing where every time their weapons touch, they whisper clink,
Yeah.
which it was so fucking stupid. So the guy kills him, like Clint lets him kill him. The crowd goes fucking wild. He gets the suit back. You find out that the firefighter's name is Grills. Who is
that won't come up again.
Yeah, he's a character from the comics.
Oh, cool.
Clint calls home. He isn't going to make his flight for that day. His wife knows about everything that's going on. And so like neither of them are fighting. I thought we talked about this a little bit before. He really wants to be home for Christmas. And she's like, "Okay, what's the plan?" And he says, "I'm going to do a little catch and release." And she says, "Oh, that's one of Nat's moves." And so he's going to go purposefully get caught by the tracksuit gang.
He specifically mentions the tracksuit mafia, and she's like, "Oh, those jackasses."
Yeah, they are so weird. They're such buffoons,
bro.
Yeah. So Kate is having dinner with her mom and Slee's dad, who I'm calling Slee's dad now, not stepdad.
That's good.
Kate questions him about he's got a weird sword fetish, and she's like, "What's all with all the fucking? There's a dildo sword, and there's a fucking there's swords everywhere." And
I was like, "Well, I do a little fencing."
Right, and she's like, "Well, I'm a fucking expert fencer, so let's fucking sword fight."
Foil saber.
Yeah. And so she like just challenges them to a sword fight, and which they do because they're rich and they have no fear of breaking anything.
Which again was us in college.
Yeah. So they put her on their fencing gear. They fight. He's letting her win. It pisses her off. It finally ends with her confronting him about hiding something.
She's like pokes at his face and he disarms
He
her.
does a parry, yeah. And then Kate tries to tell her mom that he's hiding something, and so tries to sell her a theory about him killing Armand. And Jack offers her a monogrammed candy. She notices it because she noticed the monogrammed candies in the apartment.
3,
yeah.
Yep.
And fucking suddenly leaves. She's like, "Oh, I have a thing. I gotta go," and leaves. Clint has been captured by he's being captured by the tracksuit mafia.
He just kind of walks up there. He's like, "Hey guys, are you gonna do this?"
"Oh, you guys found me. Oh no." One of the goons says something about she wants him alive. And so they capture him. Kate tries to call Clint about a clue about the monogram candy. And someone creepy answers and says Clint can't talk, and she's like, "Well, that's fucking weird." And so she used her security company resources to figure out where Clint is, which, by the way, if she can do this on any phone, it's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Clint is being interrogated like Nat in the Avengers.
Yeah.
And where they're asking him questions, but he's actually asking them questions. They want to know where Kate Bishop is. He says he doesn't know, and then she just falls through the fucking window because she's there to rescue him, right?
You left out the best part, which is where they're talking to him, and he just kind of
he undoes his things, yeah, and they all fucking freak out, yeah. So Kate Bishop lands on the floor. He's got this look like, "Oh look, fucking stupid's here," and then one of the goons is like, "Bro, I found her." I'm sitting there laughing by myself. My dogs are looking at me like, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" So they're both tied up. A woman shows up. She's like the boss, and the episode ends, and you find out it's Maya Lopez / Echo from the comics, who was an agent for the villain Kingpin, who is a classic Spider-Man villain. So anyway, we got to go. We're gonna go do our
over. Yeah.